Hi, I'm Cailey, a librarian here at Mentor Public Library.
And I'm Meg, also a librarian, and welcome to this week's edition of All Booked Up with Cailey and Meg, where each time we give you different book recommendations on a specific theme. This time, we're going to be looking at fall foods. So now we're getting later into September and it's starting to get a little bit cooler. So we thought, why not warm ourselves up with these great recipes from these great books?
Yes, and I think this time of the year just makes you start thinking of all things fall as it's right around the corner here. So why not get a jump on it? All of the books that we talk about today are available here at the library, and many of them are also available online through Libby by Overdrive and on Hoopla.
Cailey, what's your first fall food book?
Okay, so when I think fall, I think of two predominant flavors. Apple and pumpkin.
Yes.
I really do enjoy both.
Yes.
But I've really been meaning to step up my game on the pumpkin stuff. So my first book is called The Great Big Pumpkin Cookbook by Maggie Michalczyk. And this book is just filled with ways to incorporate pumpkin into more than just a pie or bread, although those are in here too. The author, who is a dietitian and a major pumpkin lover, obviously, packs this book with a variety of dishes, from cookies and muffins to chilies and dips even. And there's even a recipe for dog treats.
Cute, I love it.
I knew you'd like that.
Yeah.
Another thing that's really great about this book is that right in the table of contents, the author notes which recipes are going to be gluten-free, dairy-free, vegetarian, or even paleo-friendly. So I think that's very appealing if you're someone who has a dairy allergy or just trying to stay away from some of those things. So let me tell you a couple recipes from this that I am looking forward to trying. First one is called a pumpkin ginger bisque, which is this creamy fall soup that pairs pumpkin and butternut squash, which are like great fall flavors, with ginger. And this last year, I have been experimenting with ginger, so I look forward to throwing that into something, and it'll just warm you up on a nice chilly day. I also think that this recipe would give me a good excuse to play with my immersion blender, which I feel like I don't use enough. And the other one that I'm excited about from this book is a pumpkin oat breakfast cookies, because breakfast and cookie just don't go together in my head, but I would like to try. Yeah. And these cookies pair some familiar ingredients like oats and pumpkin puree and dried cranberries with some things that I'm not as familiar with, like hemp seed and chia seeds. But I am willing to try them in order to have cookies for breakfast. Yes. And the last thing I want to note about this cookbook is right at the beginning, there's this great section that has 25 uses for canned pumpkin. Some of them using just a small amount, which I think is great when you have a recipe that uses half a can and you have a lot left over. And she recommends, amounts to add into pancakes and waffles and different things like breakfast overnight oats. There's even a pumpkin milkshake and a pumpkin hot chocolate referenced on that page. So it just sounds very yummy, and pumpkin is just oh so fall.
You're getting me in the mood, Cailey, and I didn't even realize when we were preparing this. Man, this is just making me so hungry. So loving it already. So my first, fall food book is Foolproof Preserving by America's Test Kitchen. A guide to small batch jams, jellies, pickles, condiments, and more. This came out in 2016, but it's still considered one of the go-to books on preserving and jams and things like that. And as me personally, someone who, I'm really curious about it, but I'm not very experienced in making jams and jellies. It just seems like such a great fall thing to do. And why not try and learn a new thing at the same time? And
absolutely.
Yeah, America's Test Kitchen, I think, is a great one to go to, because if anyone's not familiar, they're a group of over 60 test cooks, editors, and cookware specialists whose job it is to test recipes over and over painstakingly until they achieve the best version. So you don't have to go through the hassle of trying an unproven recipe. You can pretty much trust what the advice that they're giving you.
Yes, and they've tested it all for you.
Yes, exactly, right? And what's really nice is if you're daunted by the aspect of doing this for the first time, they have a great introductory section where they lay out literally the best steps for doing this, like 1 to 10, where it actually makes it pretty simple. Kind of reminds me of Michael Scott explained it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Like this helps helpful if you're very brand new to this, so you can feel like you can get started. Some of my favorite recipes that I saw in here that I definitely want to try is the apple butter, which is so fall to me. And apple butter is a classic example of something I thought that's just too complicated to make. But actually reading their recipe, it didn't seem that bad. And the time it takes to make enough for like your household, about an hour and a half. So, and most of it, you're not even standing over the stove. Not too bad, really. Another great one, fig balsamic jam. Those are some other seasonal flavors. And that's a little more like sweet and savory, which I thought was good. They recommended putting that one on either morning toast or roast. So you can kind of do that for dinner as well. Yeah. And then another one I really liked was the apple shallot chutney. That's another apple one, but once again, another one they said a turkey sandwich would be great on. So yeah. Here and
put it on top of some pork chops. Oh
yes, come on. So there's just a whole great number of other things I couldn't even mention, like pickles, condiments, other jellies like Concord grape jelly. I thought that looked beautiful in the book. The pictures are really pretty too. So that's just a great one. It's one that you can go back to again and again. So.
Yes. And I mean, I think canning and preserving, like a lot of people who have had very good gardens this year are going to be doing a lot of that right now. So I think that's a great resource, maybe to do a few different mixes and things that you might not have otherwise tried. So, well, coincidence of coincidences, my next book is also from America's Test Kitchen. So you saved me explaining what that is. My next book is called Cook It in Your Dutch Oven. Okay. And it is all about using the Dutch oven. And again, these recipes are tried and true, tested from America's Test Kitchen. I received a Dutch oven for my birthday this year, and I feel like I haven't used it to its full potential yet. And so this book really highlighted for me the versatility of the Dutch oven. The chapters focus on different ways to use your Dutch oven, from soups and stews to roasting and braising, even frying and baking. The book also includes a buying guide for different brands so that, if you're new to Dutch ovens and you don't have one yet, this might be a good resource for you to take a peek to see how they rate all these different brands. They give you advice on what kind of utensils to use in it, tips to clean it, and just making the best of it. So far with mine, I've made bread a few times. I've done a little bit of roasting and braising, but after looking through this cookbook, I have a lot more ideas of ways I can try to incorporate it a bit more. One recipe that I am dying to try that just sort of seems like a warm hug kind of meal to me is braised chicken with mushrooms and tomatoes. And it uses chicken thighs, which are great in the Dutch oven because you can get the skin really crispy, but also because they cook longer and they stay moist. And it sounds to me almost like one of those weekend meals that just cooked all day. And it doesn't take anywhere near as long as that. Plus, everything cooks in one pot, which is my favorite when I have less dishes to do.
The best.
It just sounds really good. It uses portobello mushrooms, which are so tasty. And another one is a beef enchilada casserole. I do love enchiladas, and it's a bit time consuming to make them because it takes a long time to, roll the tortillas and all that. And this recipe tastes the flavors of the enchiladas, and it's a lot less work because it layers them together. So it's sort of like an enchilada lasagna kind of thing. And it all cooks right in the oven. So in the Dutch oven. And so there's a lot less cleanup as well. Like you toast the tortillas in the Dutch oven, and then you cook the meat in the Dutch oven, and then you just start the layering all in it. And then it cooks and gets bubbly and cheesy and delicious. And, I think that a Dutch oven is something that you're going to use in fall and winter more than any other time because you have to have the oven on a lot. So I'm just drawn to this as the weather is starting to cool off.
Perfect. It's staple. Gotta have a Dutch oven. I need to get a Dutch oven, Cailey. You're inspiring me.
You do. You should check out the buying guide.
Yes, I will check out the guide because I love you had me at no cleaning and great fall food. So gotta check it out. So my last one is kind of definitely can be fall. It's called Grilled Cheese Please by Laura Werlin. 50 scrumptiously cheesy recipes. So you can have grilled cheese any time of the year, but something about the cooler weather just makes me want the comfort of melted cheese,
Definitely.
Come on, that comfort. And this book gives you 50 different ways to achieve this particular brand of food perfection. Yes, I'm calling it perfection. Whether it's classic and nostalgic or modern, savory or sweet, safe for picky eaters, or maybe some recipes more for adventurous taste buds. This book has a little bit of everything. That's kind of what I really like about it. And she also gives you some tips about, best techniques, best breads, best cheeses for melting, and some really cool tricks that I never thought of. One she has in there is try and have patience and wait 5 minutes after you've made the grilled cheese, because that's going to help bring out the flavors so much more. It's really hard to do. I know it's really hard, but she says it's worth it. So I need to try it because I don't know if I've ever done that. Waited 5 whole minutes.
5 whole minutes. I mean, I wait like maybe 2 because and I always wind up with all the cheese oozing out the middle.
Yeah, come on. It's hard to resist, but I'll have to try it. Some of the great ones in here, some of the great recipes, start with the classic double cheddar and tomato jam on sourdough. Ooh. The picture is amazing in this book of this. It's like tomato jam is, I guess, this mixture of tomatoes, garlic, red wine vinegar, sugar, and salt. And it obviously has this jam consistency. So it's like you're having tomato soup and grilled cheese all in one sandwich. So that's perfect. Another great one is the mozzarella with crispy prosciutto and broccoli rabe. Just sounds amazing, especially because I prefer like my grilled cheese kind of crispy. So this one, when it had crispy in the title, I'm like, come on, crispy. Sounds so good. Another more unique one I found was Gruyere and gorgonzola with hazelnut butter. That was interesting. And honey, you add honey to that. So that sounded, if you want to try something a little different. And then finally, a classic Wisconsinite is what they called it. Come on, the dairy state, the originator of Colby cheese. They have you add cranberry, Dijon, and blue cheese on dark rye bread. So sounds so good, Cailey. You can't go wrong. There's a million other ones in here. I love it.
Now I feel like I need to go buy more cheese. But you're right. I think grilled cheese is one of those things that, like, obviously we eat it year round, but it's fun to be able to mix it up and do different blends. And in the fall, especially, having like a nice grilled cheese in a bowl of soup. Oh,
come on. I'm ready to get my fleece flannel blanket and just relax, have grilled cheese, buy a Dutch oven. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us for our fall foods edition of All Booked Up. We hope you get these books and get some great ideas for enjoying and being creative with your food this fall.
Yes. And, try out some of these recipes that are making my mouth water now. I'll check out these and a bunch of great other cookbooks here at the library that'll give you great inspiration in the kitchen this fall. Happy reading and happy cooking.